Within your patching, it can sometimes be very useful to have access to specific areas of your master texture, and in certain cases have dynamic control over its placement or its selection. So today we're going to look at using the textured quad module to achieve this. So if we go into AI, and we're going to insert the module first of all. So it's in the drawing primitive section. We've got textured quad region. Now, if ever you've used anything like the sample texture region patches that we've supplied with AI, this is the module that forms the core of those patches. So if you've used them, you'll kind of understand already why they can be quite useful. But having a greater understanding and actually having true dynamic control through Salvation can really open up a lot of things. So we've got to plug in quite a few components on this one, but it's not as bad as it looks at all. So let's get ourselves a window in there. So GL window. Let's connect that to our GL output and place the window over there. We're going to use a texture in this one, so I'm going to import texture and then load up probably the test pattern I'm going to use. So we've got the test pattern is in the media section like so, and we'll just connect that to our texture port. So we want a texture resolution, so I'm going to add a constant and convert it to a text box, and then duplicate that up so that we've got one for each part of our resolution. 1920 1080 I'm going to go for. Let's just place those in there, and then what we'll do, so a lot of these ones, the output and the texture ports, they're going to use number boxes. We're going to need some faders here, I think, for RGBA, so let's just get those faders in. So I'm going to just duplicate the text module and change its skin to a horizontal slider. Then let's just duplicate that up a few times, like so. And we'll connect that into our RGBA. You have to have the RGBA ports connected on this particular module, otherwise you're not going to see anything on your output. Okay, so all we need to do now is get in our points. Now what I'm going to do here, we're going to have two rectangles that we're drawing here. One is the bit that we're sampling, and the output is where we're placing that on the output. So for each of those corners, each of those four corners, I'm actually going to need two units, one for the X location and one for the Y location. Let's just move that one to there, and then I'm just going to duplicate all of that. So now we're just going to get these plugged in. So I'm going to go X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3, X4, and Y4. Same on this next one, so we're going to go X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3, X4, and Y4. Okay, cool. So, at the moment we're seeing nothing, and that's because all of my coordinates are set the same there. Now, let's start to get this working. So, I know that when we're working with a texture, we start with our pixels on the bottom left. So any sampling is going to start 0, 0 here. So, first of all, let's get our system set up. So, I'm going to put 0 and 0 as the bottom left coordinate. I'm going to put 0 on my Y, let's say 300 wide for now. And on this one here, I'm going to go X, Y, so that's going to be 300 and 0. And then this one here wants to be 300, 300. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to quickly get those same values into here, and we're going to see how we're doing. We might have the wrong orientation. We shall find out. 300, 300, 0, and 300. Okay, great. So, we can see here that we're drawing this section of the window. Now, our output is obviously starting at 0 there, but our input is going from the bottom left. Now, what I'm going to do here, in fact, I'm going to just double this up, maybe, just so that we can see a little bit more of the pattern there. Just to make sure that we've got the right orientation on our thing, which we haven't. Okay, so I think all that I have done there is I've just got my number. Oh, I know what I've done. Okay, so I'm actually sampling the bottom left of my image there, and I flipped it up. So it's my sampling coordinates that are wrong. So what I'm going to do here, let me just confirm. Okay, so that's my bottom there, so 600. So let us flip that around. Okay, cool. So there's my bottom left of my texture. So if we just want to confirm that, it's the standard test pattern. So I'm taking that bottom left section of that image there. Okay, so now this is a very, very manual way that we've done this. And probably is not going to be how you actually want to use it. So let's make it a little bit more dynamic. Now, we could actually make it so that we just use the top left coordinate, and then we set a size. So we'll have a width and a height box, and from those width and the height boxes, it will calculate the other ones for us. So let's start to get that one in. So I'm going to use the vector math module, like so. So we are using 600 by 600 on our input. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just type in the top. Let's type width and height, H-E-I-G-H-T. So I just double clicked in the name just to enter there. So we've got our math module, one like that, and we're going to have one for the height as well, like so. There we go. So if we take that is our width and that one into our height, so we can see at the moment we get 600 because we're saying 0 plus 600. If we put that up, so that's going to give us 614. Brilliant. So it's going to sort of automatically move everything along for us there. So we just need to replace these. So that's going to go into my X2 and my X3, I believe. Yeah. And then this one is going to go into my Y2, my Y3, so these ones at the bottom, and my Y4. Cool. So now, hopefully, when I just roll this mouse box, I should see the whole thing roll. Now, what have I done wrong there? Okay, yeah, I see. So I haven't actually connected everything there, have I? What else have we got? Okay, cool. So if we just get the other section in there as well. In fact, let's just work out what's going on there. X2, X3, Y3, Y4. So something's not right, is it? Let's go back to there. Let's go back to there. So if we say 100. Ah, there we go. My Y4. There we go, that's the culprit. Okay, there we go. So you can see that once we've got that sorted, we can then just sort of start to roll the thing. And so we've obviously got a problem on that one as well. X1, so he needs to go to X4. There we go. Okay. So you can see now that I've got this kind of floating, the ability to manipulate this texture in real time. Now if we take it one final step further and we add in an LFO, we can actually make it so that it automatically manipulates this for us. So let's give it a movement of 300. So I've done 0 to 300. Let's put them on a triangle wave. Then all I'm going to do is just replace that. So he's going to go into there, into X1, whoop, and into X4, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go, into X4. There we go. So you can see now that we're starting to manipulate that, and if I increase that amount, there we go. So we can increase the range of that. So you can see it's possible to sort of have real-time control over these components. Here obviously I'm using an LFO, but this could be as well, it could be something like ArtNet control or MIDI control. We could get a MIDI controller and we could just plug that straight into those values. We could get an ArtNet controller. And so you can start to see how it's possible to create motion tracking effects or moving stage effects literally without any motion tracking system at all, and just purely from the generative modules here in Salvation.